I turned down supply chain and planning 3 times because I never had it in my plan to join supply chain. I never foresaw it as part of my career development. Up until then, I've been working as a chemical engineer. I actually always liked chemistry. It was a subject at school that not only I studied, but I was very curious about it. Only later to find out that chemical engineering doesn't have to do that much with chemistry. I think it's the complexity and the challenge that have always attracted me. I joined Infinium about 15 years ago because it had great people and great culture. Infinium is a 50-50 joint venture of Shell and ExxonMobil. It produces specialty chemicals. When I started my engineering career, I was a project manager, process engineer, programmer, all very structured assignments with very clear deliverables. And being a well-structured person, it suited me well. Every time I would overhear supply chain colleagues, it was so overwhelming. It's like, oh, this material is moving here and this ship is not going and we need to rebook it and this truck is late. And it just seemed like constant chaos that they were managing. It is certainly not a function that I wanted to enter. I just didn't think I would excel there, being a very structured engineer. I was offered a job in supply chain and planning 3 times. I didn't think I was a good fit for it, but at some point when I was asked to join the team the 4th time, I asked myself a question: would I be willing to do something completely outside of my comfort zone? It was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my career. And I brought my own ways of working when I joined supply chain and planning. I put those supply chains and supply chain networks into systems. Very quickly, it was no longer overwhelming. It became this challenge of how can I do it better? How can I systematize it better? One of the exciting achievements is that we've been able almost to eliminate our air freights around the world, meaning we can plan well enough ahead of time, we can react quicker so that materials move from point A to point B in a more efficient, more cost-effective, and more reliable way. My hardest day on the job was in February of 2022 when I woke up in the morning and from all news sources learned that there was a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, where I still have a lot of close family and friends. I froze. All of a sudden, it felt like everything that I had functioning so well was disturbed by a threat that I didn't see coming. Seeing the country and its people and in general the entire culture being destroyed by war is very painful, right? It becomes not just the physical war on the land and people's lives, it almost becomes a war on what you value. I spoke to my family every day, a few times a day. For one, we wanted to hear the story from them. Very slowly, they told me about neighbors and family friends who are being deployed to the front lines. As a person, I always believed that there is a solution. This time, the solution proved to be a bit more challenging because as an individual, as much as you want to, you can't stop a large war. Very slowly, I started to define the boundary of my solution. I understood that there is a big need to help people in my hometown. 65,000 people close to the Polish border. I was able to ask, what do they need? How are your supplies? Because one of the first things that the war disrupts is a supply chain. It's like urgent supplies, right? So that's the power banks, the tourniquets, like the thermal sleeping bags. That's when we started up our nonprofit, Friends of Chervonograd. I divided needs into different buckets: urgent medical supplies, urgent supplies for the guys going to the front lines, everyday essentials. I was looking at the cost of air freighting from US to Poland versus putting things on the ship and lead times. And because I knew the mechanics of supply chain from my everyday job, right, it was very quickly for me to put them into practice for children who were displaced from Eastern Ukraine. They came to Chervonograd. They couldn't join remote school at the time, so we provided them with the most basic tablets. They were able to get enrolled into schools and attend daily classes remotely. That still keeps me going with that mission of the nonprofit work. I truly believe that taking a leap into something that's uncomfortable for you, as supply chain was for me, is very important. And I think just having, at the end, as simply as having faith that if you leap into a certain journey, that all those elements will come together. At some point, everything that you've done in your life makes you the person who you are today.